You're listening to episode 186 of the Confident Coaches podcast, the one where you leave with a marketing plan today. All right, let's go. Welcome to the Confident Coaches podcast, a place for creating the self-confidence you need to do your best work as a life coach. If you want to bring more boldness, more resilience, and more joy to your work, this is the place for you. I'm your host, Amy Latta. Let's dive in. Hello, my friend. Do you have your pen and your paper? Because you're gonna need it. I've got a lot of clients come to me in the past couple of weeks freaking out about the fact that they don't have Facebook ads. And I don't know what went down, but y'all don't need Facebook ads unless you want to, but you don't need them. So what do you need instead? Easy. I'm about to give you the simplest marketing plan of ever. And it does not have to include ads at all. And I want to be really clear. It's not that paying money for advertising is a bad thing. It's like all of what we know. How do magazines get published? Advertising. How are you watching TV for free on your local news? It's advertising. Advertising makes the world go round. It's neither good nor bad. It's incredibly neutral. And for people who've built their entire business using just ads, amazing. And then also there are people who are making millions who've never spent money on ads. And there's everything in between. There is no right or wrong. But anybody who's saying you have to have them is being disingenuous in the least and flat out lying at the worst. Okay? But then also your brain, your mind is going to say, but if I'm not doing that, then I need to be doing something. So this is your something. Okay? So you got your pen and paper, right? Because by the end of this, you should be able to have the simplest marketing plan of ever. And that's what I'm calling this. I feel like that needs to have a registered or a TM at the end of it. Simplest marketing plan of ever. Now, let's be really clear. What I'm going to give you in this episode really is super easy. It's super simple. And also, your mind will hate how simple it is because it will tell you that it needs to be more complicated. And no, it doesn't. And there are other factors that do come into play. This isn't an episode about what to say in your marketing plan. There's going to be I'm going to have a couple of a word about towards the end. But what about this? But what about that? But what about this? But I want you to really see all a marketing plan. Hold on, guys. It's a plan for how you're going to market. I know. All a marketing plan is a plan and how you are going to market your business. And marketing is just letting people know that you have a business, the problems that you solve, and invitations to work with you. Marketing is saying, here's the thing that I have. Selling is saying, do you want to buy it? It's really this simple. Something happens. Okay, I didn't realize that this was going to be part of the episode, but lean in. Something happens in so many minds where as soon as we talk about, I got to do marketing, and everybody starts throwing out I hate marketing. I don't know how to market because you didn't go to business school, or, it's got to be this thing that you got to go learn. And I want you to understand this right now. No, it's not. Okay. Yes, I'm telling you this I actually have a marketing degree. Did you all know that? This is literally my college degree, what I did for 4 years, and my corporate career was in corporate marketing. Marketing is what my career was. Marketing can be complicated. Marketing can be multi-layered. It absolutely can be. But it doesn't have to be particularly when you are a one-woman show running a very simple coaching business. Now, you can do integrated marketing play. Like, this is what we did in college. This is what we did in my corporate career, right? Like integrated marketing with this and that and this tie-in and this piece over here and this bamboozle. Like, I'm just like, it's got whizzes and bangs and booms, right? I'm channeling a little Grinch, right? It's got all these pieces and it's got all these moving parts. And yes, that is also marketing. But that's not what we're doing here. None of that is necessary. You are not a multinational corporation with multiple things going on. You're a single coach who just wants to let other people know that you have something that can help them. A simple marketing plan to match your simply structured business. That's all you need. It doesn't have to be more complicated. It can be as simple as this, okay? All right, so now right out of the gate, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're not covering in this episode so that you can see like just how simple the marketing plan in and of itself is, right? So in Free to Paid Coach, I coach my people. Like, the what to do is very simple. You want to sell what you know. You want to start conversations and nurture those relationships. And then you want to make as many offers to help those people as you can. That's how you become a paid coach. And then, of course, most of the time we're spending time on working through all of the emotional roller coaster of doing those very simple things because our minds want to make it very, very complicated. Now, once you're moving into the mastermind, which has previously been called Path to 100K, name still exactly TBD, but the new purpose is really about profitability. I'm way more concerned about you becoming a profitable business with income than I am with you hit this magical 100K mark, but you don't actually have any money in your bank, right? But the process is still the same. We're going to take what's working. You're already signing clients. You've already done the sell what you know, start conversations and nurture relationships, make as many offers as you can. Now we're building on that with what's working. What do you love that's in your business? What feels like play? What feels like fun? And let's replicate that, even if it goes against norms. And then we're going to look at what's not working. What have you done that feels really forced? What are you doing because you think you have to do? People running Facebook ads. Ooh, what's sucking the life out of you? And then let's let that go. And then in the past, I've called it Try 100 Things. We've called it your Epic Action Plan. And now we're calling it your Yes Plan. That's the episode from a couple weeks ago. It's all the same thing. It's testing and trying more things to add to those first two lists of what's working, what's not working. Okay, so this is happening, and depending where you are in your business and how much money you're making. The coaches who are making over 100K who hire me for one-on-one, we're doing any combination of that. Maybe we are, how can we make the same amount of money with significantly less stress, significantly less burnout? Let's simplify your business plan. Maybe we're burning down what you've already created that's making you a lot of money and building something that you love in your bones to replace it. It could be any number of things, right? So depending on where you are, kind of depends on, like, there's the marketing plan and then there's stuff that's in the plan. So what's in the plan kind of depends on where you are in your business. But the plan itself is very simple. So what are the components of the simplest marketing plan of ever? It's actually pretty simple. I was thinking about, like, what's my plan? And I want to be really clear. I actually don't have a written plan that I am following. Some people do. That ADHD person in me does not love, here's the plan and we're going to stick to it. But when I sat down to teach this, to add this to the mastermind, I had to think about, I do have a plan. I just don't have it like written down as like, this is what we're doing here and this is what we're doing here. But I actually have been working a plan. And so I was thinking about, okay, the components are, there's the things that I do all of the time. It's like my regular stuff that I do. And then there's stuff that I do semi-regularly. It's more like I do it on occasion. Like they're the occasionals. And then there's things that are kind of maybe one-offs or special events. So the components of your simplest marketing plan ever are those three things: your regulars, your occasionals, and your specials. All I did is I wrote down everything I could ever think of that I've ever done to market my business, and I found that all fell into one of those three columns. You got your stuff that you do all of the time, the stuff that you do occasionally, and then the stuff that's just like a special event. So what are we talking about? Like, what do I mean regulars and occasionals and specials? So I'm going to give you some ideas of what I'm talking about. And I want you to note that some things that I call occasional, you might call special. And some things that I'm calling special, you might call occasional. Okay. Your simplest marketing plan of ever is not carved into stone. You are not tied to it until the death of your business. This is mix and match and everything in between. You don't have to do all of it. You can do actually very little of it. You want to start where your comfort level is. So what are we talking about here? So regulars. The first thing, I email my people every single week, right? I have a podcast that's every single week. Social media posts. Maybe, I am doing regular lives, Facebook lives, YouTube videos, Reels, TikToks, maybe networking events for some people. I have a freebie. I have a Facebook group. It might be Facebook ads. Facebook ads might be a regular thing. I actually do have that listed in that thing, even though this whole episode is about you don't have to do Facebook ads. So what are you doing all of the time? Right? I'm sending out weekly emails. I'm producing a podcast every week. I do a live in Free to Paid Coach every week. I used to do lives outside. I used to do lives to the public every single week. I've got a freebie. I've got Facebook groups. I used to go to networking events every single week, Reels, TikToks, YouTube videos. You may not be doing all of those, and you don't have to be doing all of those. But you just want to think about, what are you doing all of the time? And by all of the time, doesn't have to be daily. What are you doing every single week? What are you doing 3 times a week? These are your regular things that are just, it's probably you're starting where you're comfortable. And it's the thing that you have gotten into the habit of doing regularly. Okay? And then we're moving into, I was like, okay, then there's other stuff, but I only do them occasionally. And I'm like, oh, well, let's call those the occasionals. I'm talking about webinars, master classes. I do the occasional free training or email series. Back in the day, I would do the occasional in-person workshop or speaking events, vendor fairs. So before I really had an online presence, I actually was doing a lot of in-person back in 2015, 2016, where if there was a vendor fair, in-person workshop, speaking events, I was doing those things. And I was doing those things probably, occasionals might be kind of your once a quarter kind of thing. Every other month, once a quarter-ish. Again, you're going to notice none of this is hard. None of this is black and white. None of this is it's got to be this and it's got to fit into this category. So your regulars are what you're doing daily, weekly. Your occasionals are maybe every other month, quarterly. And then you've got your special events. Now you might notice for some of you, what I'm going to be putting under special events, you're actually doing occasionally. Or maybe what I've listed as an occasional would actually be a pretty big special event for you. So for me, specials would be like collaborations. I don't do them very often. It's not a semi-regular kind of thing, but they do happen. Podcast guesting. Maybe giveaways. I did a giveaway last fall for a push. I don't do those all the time, but I decided to try it. Hot seat coaching. This is like a coaching hot seat. I've been entertaining the idea of maybe like, what if I did that a couple of times where I did like a free coaching Friday kind of thing. Come do some hot seat coaching with me. Maybe free coaching days, Voxer days. Something that I'm putting under specials, like a close friends list. If you follow me on Instagram, I have created, if you follow me and you ask me to put you on my close friends list, you'll get stories with a green circle that only people with who are close friends will get. It's been under the specials category, but I think close friends list is going to be moving to more regulars because I'm moving a little bit of my marketing plan around. So you'll notice, like even in what the conversation I've just had with you, I'm sharing with you the things that I have done and where I have put them, but I'm even moving things around from what's a regular to an occasional to a special. And you should be doing that too. Like, what do you want to do all the time? What do you want to do regularly? What do you want to do semi-regularly or occasionally? And then like, give it a try special events. What comes up for you? What do you want to have in your columns? So your regulars are like what you're doing every day, every week. Your semi-regulars or your occasional are like every other month, once a quarter. And then maybe your specials are, you get to decide. If you want to for sure make sure you do a special, like once a quarter or twice a year. I don't plan mine that far out. If a special event comes up, I just do it. But for you, you might want to make a specific plan for it. You know, maybe your regulars are daily and weekly, your occasionals are monthly, and your specials are quarterly. So in the simplest marketing plan of ever, you get to decide the timing. My regulars are daily and weekly. My occasionals are more like every other month to quarterly. My specials are whenever the hell I feel like it. If you want to put more time constraint on that, you certainly can. But don't think, so here's a note about timing. Don't think that if you don't have the timing 100% that you don't have a marketing plan. You do have a marketing plan, even if that plan is some things you do whenever the hell you want. But you've identified that you want to do them or you like doing them. And when the opportunity arises, you're going to do them. We start making marketing plans complicated when we start demanding that they be something very specific and nothing else. The way you keep the simplest marketing plan of ever simple is decide to make it your own. And it doesn't have to look like anybody else. And it doesn't have to fit anybody else's definition. So what are you going to do regularly? What are you going to do semi-regularly or occasionally? And when are you going to do as a special? Now, for a lot of people starting out, your yes plan is probably going to have a lot of those occasionals and specials, right? Your yes plan where you're trying new shit out, where you're trying new things to see if you like them, see what's working, what's not working. So they can even be TBD and then tied to your yes plan. That's super fun, right? Okay, so a note about email marketing. One of the things we could probably, I don't know if this is a whole entire separate episode, but email marketing is as simple as you have people's email addresses and you send them emails. Email marketing is not any more complicated than that. You want to know what an email marketing plan is? How often do you want to email your people? There's your plan. Now you can do so. In previous times, I would do like a motivational Monday. My podcast comes out on Tuesday. So the podcast in and of itself is a regular thing. And then the email regarding the podcast is a regular email. And then I would send an additional email. I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday. And I had a very specific email marketing plan. Monday is going to be Motivational Monday. Tuesday is going to be the podcast. And again, I can't even remember what it was. Thursday or Friday, I would send like the, I don't know what you want to call it, but it was like the once a week email with like the deep thought. So Monday was short, Tuesday is the podcast, and then my once a week email that came out on Thursdays that was like the inspirational, value delivering, full of usefulness email. Now you want to know what I do? For sure, you're getting an email from me every Tuesday. I do email series. Sometimes I send an email 5 days a week. Sometimes I send an email 1 day a week. It's still an email marketing plan. I can make it more structured. I can make it less structured. However, I do. Even if you are a brand new coach, I don't need you to stress out about this immediately. But understand that emails, people's emails, it's the only thing that you really own, because you do not own Instagram. You do not own your contacts anywhere else. You do not own online contacts through a social media platform, whether that's LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. You don't own the connections that you have there. So this episode is not about how to build an email list. That can be a separate thing about creating a freebie, creating an email sequence, getting people to sign up for it and getting their email list. But you do want to, at some point, start gathering email addresses and compiling them into a list. Now, I did a technology class in Free to Paid Coach. I think it was April's monthly business class about the tech that you need, what not to spend your money on. So, like, you can just use a free email service like MailerLite or MailChimp to gather those emails, decide what your email marketing plan is. A once a week email with like an idea for the week is a beautiful email marketing plan. It's the perfect place to start. I strongly recommend that. I don't care if you have 5 emails. Those are your emails. Use them, write to them, nurture those relationships, develop your voice. Start writing so that you can get better at figuring out how you talk and the language you use and why this matters. Invite them to that occasional event or that special event. Invite them to follow you on Instagram. Invite your Instagram people, your online contacts, to give you their email so you can email them. Give them a reason to want to do that. This is where your specials and your occasionals that you're talking about on social media, there's a way that you can tie in for them to sign up. But see, that's a separate episode about how to gather emails. Just know that in the simplest marketing plan of ever, sending emails. And I don't care how many email addresses you have. Sending regular emails should be on your simplest marketing plan of ever, if anything, because it's the only thing that you own. It's a great way to nurture relationships. You're going to develop your writing and develop your voice. It's just getting into the habit. And in the future, if you don't yet have a freebie and a sequence and all of that, it's not a problem. In the future, when you get that, sending regular emails won't be a big deal. Okay? So, and then now a note about social media. No, it does not matter what platform you use. So in your simplest marketing plan of ever, a social media post a week or 3 posts a week, it doesn't matter what platform you use. Do what I tell my free to paid coachers. Start where you're already comfortable. Now, I actually have a breakdown of the different social media platforms and the pros and cons of each, why you should be in one and not another. This was March's class in Free to Paid Coach about meeting people and nurturing relationships, how to meet people online, why you might choose Instagram over Facebook, TikTok over LinkedIn. And here's the thing. That information is probably already dated a couple months later because social media platforms are constantly changing and evolving, and the pros in 1 month might be cons 6 months from now. Just know that it does not matter which platform you choose. Start where you already are. If you want to grow more, I have a class in Free to Paid Coach just on where to go meet people. So it doesn't matter what platform, start with where you are. And this actually goes to a note about in-person marketing, because you actually don't have to do any of this online. This, I would say, warrants its own episode also. So like each of these last three things could almost be their own episode. You can just, your marketing plan, your regulars could be attending a weekly networking event. And your occasional could be hosting an in-person, maybe you're attending a networking event every single week, and once a month you're hosting a coffee club of some kind, and once a quarter you're hosting a workshop. That is an in-person marketing plan. It can be that simple. So if you're doing in person, do you need to be on social media? This is a question I get all the time. Let me answer it for you right here, because a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with social media. And when I offer to you, I want you to start where you already are. If you already have great in-person connections, then a social media marketing plan is not your priority. What I do suggest, though, is that many people, if you are meeting them in person, many people will go look you up. Being able to send them to your Facebook page, connect with you on your personal Facebook, or send them to an Instagram page or something along those lines, and then having some things there. So like what you're sending in email, post it on your Instagram. Do some short do some short inspirational memes that deliver content. Take the in-person conversations that you're having and not take the actual conversations and turn them into a post, but get the inspiration, an idea that comes out of those and turn them into, like this podcast episode came out of a couple of coaching sessions where people were freaking out about Facebook ads. I'm like, you don't need one, just a simple marketing plan. Here. And I was like, oh, this could turn into a thing for everybody. Look for those things there. So a word about social media, it doesn't matter what platform you use. Start where you're already comfortable. If you really want to build your simplest marketing plan of ever, implementing that in person, I do still you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to do it. I just think I strongly recommend that if people want to look you up, they got a place to go. They're connecting with you on Facebook personally, every 3 posts, every couple of posts, once a week, 3 times a week, you're putting something out there that's speaking to that audience, that niche. Or you have an Instagram account or a TikTok account or a LinkedIn account or something that's part of your calling card, so that people can kind of get a feel of what it is you talk about, so that then the next time you meet them at that networking event, they might have scoped you out a little bit. Okay? So this is where you're putting your content. This episode is not about what to put in there. This episode is about, this is now where you're putting your content. What's going in email, what's going on social media. Are you writing a video? What's going on a podcast episode? deciding how often you're doing it. And then I do invite you to get intentional with that marketing plan and look at metrics. So the last piece of a simplest marketing plan of ever is looking at metrics. What posts are doing better than others? Are they open, an email service like MailChimp, MailerLite, there's so many of them, they will tell you. Are people opening? They'll give you open rates. An open rate is an indication of how good your subject lines are. If there's a link to schedule a consult call with you, that's your click rate. That's telling you whether or not they felt compelled enough to click through. If you're on Instagram and you have professional or business or creator, anything other than a personal account, it will give you data on what your most interacted posts were, your most popular posts. It will tell you what time of day people are looking at. That can get as complicated or as simple as you want it to be. But you can get data and feedback and see how your stuff is doing. You can repost or repurpose what a lot of people interacted with. Posts that feel really great to you but didn't get a lot of interaction, that's great stuff that you can rework and turn into something. So your simplest marketing plan of ever. What do you want to do regularly? What do you want to do semi-regularly or occasionally? What do you want to do for special events? And then follow up where numbers and data is available and pay attention to what it's telling you. All right? It's the simplest marketing plan of ever, I promise. We can get more complicated. It doesn't need to be. Yes, what goes in the plan you might need coaching on. Yes, you might want to do in-person versus online. You might want to do online versus in-person. You might want to do a combination thereof. Mix and match. What I want you to walk away with is that this doesn't have to be complicated. Every bit of your plan can be whenever the hell I feel like it. That is a plan. Don't use, I don't know how to do marketing as a reason not to market your business. Keep it simple. And in both Free to Paid Coach, Path to Profitability Mastermind, whatever the hell I'm calling it yet, it's still in transition. Whether you're working with me one-on-one, we can absolutely hammer out the best, simplest marketing plan for you and what's going in that plan. How you're talking to people, what your message is, what the things that you want to say in that BFF energy that's you just speaking from your heart to their heart. Listen, now's the time. I'm not even sure what the release date on this episode is, so I might be shooting myself in the foot. But when you are enrolling in Free to Paid Coach, if this episode is dropping, yes, on the day that it drops, you can still do this. Through the end of May, Free to Paid Coach, you're going to get bonus one-on-one coaching sessions with me. And we are pre-enrolling for the next round of Mastermind. And we can coach one-on-one until the Mastermind starts. You want to make sure that you're getting in now if you know this is the work that you want to be doing. All right? And like every week, if this podcast landed on you, if you needed to hear this and you know other people who need to hear it, share it in your stories. Tag me at I am Amy Latta. Share what you needed to hear today. I can't wait to hear. I'm so excited to see what you create in the world. All right, talk to you next week. Coach, it's time to sign your first free client, your first paid client, your next client, and to learn how to do it consistently and having a hell of a lot of fun along the way. This is exactly what you're going to do in Free to Paid Coach. It's the only program giving you step-by-step what to do to become a paid coach and step-by-step how to handle the roller coaster emotions that come with doing what you need to do to become a paid coach. If you know you can't not do this life coaching thing, but believing that you can do it, handling rejection, and remembering how to do all of those things shuts you down, The free to paid coach community is waiting for you. Find everything that you're looking for inside. It's only $1,000, payments are available, and then you are in forever. Visit amylatta.com/FTPC to join us right now. See you inside. Let's get paid, coach. Thanks so much for listening to the Confident Coaches podcast. I invite you to learn more. Come visit me at amylatta.com. And until next week, let's go do epic stuff.